I know people don't watch introductions, that's fine. You can skip this if you want. I'm gonna talk a little bit about myself, but before you skip, I just wanna say that this is the first time I'm doing this, so the audio and video quality will slightly vary. I'm still figuring this out. From the next video onwards, it should be consistently good. But yeah, it will vary. I've tried to make it as good as possible in the editing, but please be with me. And as well, it takes a bit of a while for me to get used to the camera. I'm quite quiet and I guess nervous. Not as natural and calm as I am now, because this is the last thing that I'm filming. But it's the first thing you'll see. Contrast. So yeah. But hopefully you enjoy, and hopefully the quality of each video should just keep improving. Yeah, so to talk about myself, I'm Theodore. I'm mainly passionate about anime and manga, and now visual novels. When it comes to visual novels, I've read a few, but not much. I've read all of Umineko no Nakukoroni, and that includes all manga adaptations. And it's the best thing ever, basically. I'm getting through the Saku side stories. I've read the big ones, but I'm making my way through that slowly but surely. I've also read The House of Fata and that includes the original, all 8 doors, Rukimi of Innocence, Reincarnation, and all of the short stories. And I love it. It's an all-time favorite. I've also read Fate, the Fate route, the first route of Fate's Denied, which I didn't like and didn't think was any good. I think it had major issues, but I'm not going to dig into those now. And I've also read Doki Doki Literature Club, which was fine for what it was. Just not something you get emotionally invested in, you know. But as an experiment, it was perfectly fine. I enjoyed it. But I think that's it as far as visual novels go. This is Subahibi, Subarashiki Hibi, Wonderful Life something. Yeah, I know little about this visual novel. Well, now I know a bit more because I filmed this after I read the first chapter. It's yeah, I do crazy shit like that. But before I read it, I didn't know much. I know about the content warnings. It doesn't excite me, but I should be fine with it, unless it's just detrimental to the overall narrative, of course. Otherwise, I know nothing about the plot. I haven't been spoiled. I've seen a few CGs, but that's basically it. And they haven't told me anything about the story, so it's pretty good. Yeah, I'm not gonna keep you here any longer. Yeah, so I think that's it. Our characters depicted in this game are at least 18 years. Oh, yeah, they say that, but I've seen games where, you know, some character is 17 or even a child, but they still say it. So I think it's a legal thing, but I don't have to. You must be over 18 years of age. Yeah, I heard this game had weird stuff. Oh, we have our pockets full. You'll see that I was in these lettered lines. Eloquent, all the more, the less sincere. Take it, and make an end. So that's a poem, I think. That's Edmond Rostand Cyrano de Perche. I think that's a play, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm guessing that foreshadows stuff. Yeah, they said stuff like hiding between lettered lines, make an end. If I had to make a wild guess, I don't know what the play's about, but just based on the lines I heard, maybe something like, I don't know, some character hiding, like some character that we don't know is a character in the story until later on. Maybe they're suicidal, or want their story to end, want the protagonist to put an end to them, to it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just spitballing. I guess we'll see. They're the final hours of the week, and because of that, the busiest. Oh! Wait, what did I skipped? I just skipped lines. Did I? Again! Roof. Stop, shut up. How do I? Is it it's the space. Wait a minute. Sorry. Yeah, it's when I press the enter bar, the return bar, the enter bar, the thing on the right. Then it works, but if I press the space one, then it doesn't. That's annoying, the enter bar is further away from me. But alright, I guess. Well, we have to restart it now. So, that's a great start to this. Alright. Yeah, guess we return to the tiny. Oh, I didn't read this before. Wonderful everyday, discontinual liches design. I think that's... I was about to say French, but that's not it. What's it called? German. Discontinuous design. I don't know. Let's do this again then. Oh, that's the first CG. Even at the very beginning, and then even in the future, he and I would never walk the same path. It was inevitable that we wouldn't. Underneath a Friday sky, the weekend wouldn't be the end of the world. It would be a very ordinary weekend. He was there. Oh, that's someone new. When I turned around, I saw an unfamiliar face. Oh, so that's not the one she was talking about. No, upon close inspection, it was a face I recognized. Okay, maybe it was. His name was... Yeah, I've seen that guy from some CG's Twitter. What's the who's the voice actor for that guy? I wish I had my phone, but I don't. I'll look it up later. I'm just spinning fast, but I've heard that the story structure in Subahibi is unconventional. So I'm already thinking, you know, maybe this isn't the beginning, but the ending. I think they're at the top of the school building, right there on the let me lower this down just a bit. I think they're on the top of the school building, like on the roof, because that's a typical anime thing. But I think that's just an anime thing. I don't know why I'm looking out the window, but in Sweden at least, you can't go to the top of the roof. I mean, on the roof there's no platform to be. And then I think I looked it up on Google, and there's no... I don't think people do that in Japan either. Like, maybe there's roofs that you can be on, but I don't think you're allowed to. I mean, not that it matters, just a fun thought. Oh god, I skipped it again. I have to keep my hand on the enter tab, because otherwise I just press the space one. Actually, you could probably change the keys, right? In the settings or something. I looked it up. See, there's a feather in the text box. Might be a motif of the series. That's a cutesy voice. They remind me of the Planet Sisters, because they were both, yeah, pink-haired. Not pink, what's it called, purple. One, the bit more meek one, had shorter hair, and the more tomboyish one had longer hair. Didn't have pigtails though. I think I can't picture the older sister in my head. I can't remember what she looks like, but I don't think so. I remember the younger one though. Yuki, that was the girl on the roof, right? I can't remember names. Alright, how long is this guy gonna go on? Decided Sakasa chasing after someone like that. For some reason I felt nostalgic. Why is that? Maybe okay. Yeah, because I was thinking now. What I said before, that maybe this chapter is actually the end. Maybe that's why it's nostalgic, because what we'll see in the future chapters why it's nostalgic. I was about to say, what's that R for? What roof? Right. This is in Japan, but they still have R for... I don't know if they have kanjis on Japanese elevator buttons. Do you even have... No, yeah, no, never mind. I was about to say, do you even have letters on elevator buttons? But of course you do. There's like platform A or E, like the enter level. Anyway, there's like a stuffed animal, kinda. Picked up the fallen object. stuff doll. Yep, that's what I thought.
隣のクラス?
Can you think of it? There might have been a girl like that. Oh, I can't remember any classmates from the class next to me. As a rule, I don't even remember the names of the girls in my own class, but I don't know the class next to mine. Yeah, alright, so. Yeah. I mean, do you ever interact with your other class? What do they call it? In my school, they were called parallel class. If they're the same grade, but like class 1's class A, no, class 1A or class 1B, parallel classes. I don't think I've heard that term in anime. She was talking about things like acceptance, so maybe it was a fairy tale or something. Maybe there was a story that if you dropped a stuffed doll off a building in the evening, your wish would be granted. And that's like something that could.
そうですね。その通りです。そうなんだ。
Very cute laugh.
ごめんなさい。なんだか私、肺から空気が。
Does she not know what laughter is?
肺から空気ね。まあ、一般的に笑ってるって言うけど。
Maybe she's a doll. Maybe she's like just recently created.
なんだか158人のメールアドレスがあるので。
That's probably a significant number to remember.
どんな?
Oh, should have cut them off, but sometimes that happens. I don't know where I get these ideas from, but 158 you'd be put off dead people? I don't know.
こっちだとまだ夕日なのに。
Still evening, 10:44 p.m. That is evening time. Unless she means it's supposed to be night. Oh, God, what was that?
And if you are not good
like
to receive at it, I put you through into looking glass house. How would you like that?
Working class has some ideas. July 13th. Okay, that was such bad English, I didn't get most of it. It looked like she was in a hospital. Tell you my ideas, put you through working glass house. Yeah, you know, the idea I had of maybe she's in a... Maybe this is a fantasy and she's actually in the hospital. Need to share the sky. Might be important later on. But it's metaphorical, Yuki. Yeah, someone calling out in a difficult to decipher communicative way, calling them to come back home. Yeah, you see that it was in these letter lines. I think not only one that's sincere. So, hiding in the narrative through unreliable narration. When you read some other visual novels, you can kind of guess at this stuff. Unless I'm completely wrong, of course, but that's why these are the first ideas that come up in my head. They're gonna make an end. Yeah, that's ending the story, I think. The book I was reading, yeah. He was dreaming of the lunar world, wasn't he? She spoke of him as if he were a close friend. The lunar world might be metaphorical for the afterlife. The air that they send me from for my paradise. Yeah, that sounds kinda afterlife-like. She'd said I'd lend her another one. Why would she say another one? But this was the first time I read the book. Okay, so they're focusing on that.
それを言うなら2人が屋上に来るのも珍しいじゃん。どうかしたん?
Oh, yeah, I'm playing with sisters again. Probably shouldn't. Ooh, a knife! Nah.
なのはユキが全面的に悪いよ。
Oh, her voice is just grating on the ears. I'm sorry, I don't want to complain, but I really don't like her character archetype.
私じゃなくてお姉ちゃんにだよ。
Baby character. What does it say on the school uniforms? That's interesting. Longer than usual skirts with frolics. The black thing around it. I do like when they have ties. I do think that looks nice. But it was a bit more flowy, kind of looks like a half coat. And then there's a crown, palace palace, but I can't read. What's the point of those, I don't know, clips, braids, and the short-haired girls here? I mean, I know for Kagami, the ribbons, you know, so you can get it into I don't know what they're called, pigtails, but I mean, for the I don't remember her name, but the other sister, her hair, it doesn't seem to change anything. But I guess it's just for fashion. I mean, it doesn't have to uphold anything to put stuff in your hair. There are people in the house, so I try not to be too loud. But I'll try to articulate clearly. Yeah, I think Yuki is just misinterpreting it. Or?
Yuki.
Yeah, that's by far the misinterpretation. God. It feels like a very long drawn gag. For some reason, Kagami's eyes looked unusually fierce. No, she looks... They look mellow, she's smiling. Memories basically is injurious. Injurious? Is that a word? Injurious. How would I use that in a sentence? Besides what they said. Taking a knife to my stomach would be injurious. Injuringly. I guess injurious is what it doesn't matter. I don't know. She said that both Tsukasa, Kagami, and the Mysterious God are acting weird. And they also mentioned the date, 12th of July, although now it's 13th. So maybe something in the world changed the 12th of July. So it's not just, oh, now she's confessing her love, but there's a reason why they are acting weird. But they're not that weird, so I feel like if something has gone wrong in the world, then they would empathize that with some creepier behavior, not this, which could be perfectly normal. So I was hanging around in front of the station and I spotted a familiar tree? Familiar face. Alright, I don't know why I read tree. They looked like she hadn't noticed me yet when she's turned away from you. I'm looking at her hair, and at the back it goes kinda like this. Tend not to see that kind of hair in real life. Well, that's not true. I do, especially in shorter hair, because then the tips here are longer and it goes up. I guess I just don't see people with that long hair in general. Whatever. There are probably people like that. It's funny, when we say sky, we think of the blue sky, and then at nighttime we say look at the sky, but we're just seeing out into space. I don't know what the point there was, but I'm thinking maybe, I mean, you still say sky when it's night. Look at the sky, see the stars, but I thought maybe she was gonna, like the beginning was at dawn and end was at dusk or something. Right, because people can't fly. That girl cannot be here. Right, because the fantasizer can't be part of the actual fantasy. I mean, it'd be the imagined version of them, but the actual party can't be in the same realm as the fantasy. You connect this to simulation theory if you want. Well, I want to, so I'm gonna explain. The programmer of the simulation cannot be in the simulation itself. So if there is a simulation, there's a external reality as well. The computer cannot be in the simulation, basically. Yeah. So it's the same kind of thing here. You gotta use the word itself should never have been in this world in the first place. That's what I mean to say. She should never have imagined this. Maybe she knows you. Like, not this version of you, but some other version. What is she saying? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so this in the sky is that. I'm still gonna interpret that as the afterlife. So she's in the hospital bed. She's imagining this world. She shouldn't be. She should return to the goddess waiting in the sky. She should die and return to her dead friend in the afterlife. Today's the 13th. It's July. Wait, this would be no 5th of June, so not 13th of July. Ah, not too. Alright, well, would have been cool. A zipper. Skirts have zippers, they can have that. Yeah. Nice. Also, if you can just get through the window, any burglar can do that. Oh, those are cute pyjamases. Kagamis especially, they can look like one of those Chinese dresses, kimonos, I don't know. I haven't even thought about the possibility of flavored toothpaste. You learn something new every day. I do think it's... I know Subahibi is... well, supposedly, I don't know, but a lot of people love it, and I'm sure it's a fantastic piece of work. But the chapter is a bit, you know, typical, which I'm sure is intentional. I'm not complaining about that, but I do wonder, I mean, what about people that read this for the first time? You know, and like when it was released. Vision novel fans, I mean, they stick through with this in case it gets better. Or maybe they like this, which is fine, you can like it. Wash your mouth with soap. Round fingertip. Yeah, fingertips are round. Bum, 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 bum. Da, 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 da. This feels very carnival-like. The music. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I'm gonna mention it. We haven't seen Yuki's sprite yet. I mean, we saw her in the prologue, but usually even with... I'm taking examples from the vision novels that I read in the past. Fata from Umineko. Shiro from Face the Night. I mean, you may not have always seen their sprites, but sometimes, even when they were talking, we haven't seen hers at all. Besides the CGs in the prologue. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna... I'll just make a note of this in case this playing the character roles return in future chapters. Or if it's just a gag. They decide to be in the role of a childhood friend that got falling in love with you, and they decide to be a little sister and have the intimate relationship with siblings. Those ambivalent feelings of taking with twins, haven't they? Okay, so off the wall gas, they're not real. Which would make sense if this is all a fantasy. They're not real. Someone, maybe the girl in the hospital, has this desire to fall in love with Yuki, and also the desire to be her little sister, and have manifested these imaginary characters to fulfill those desires. Sorry, it's just too hot in here. I'll have to turn on my fan. Hopefully the noise isn't too much. Hey. Too big and it's just lumps of fat. I'm surprised Kagami is the one with the 2-piece and Zurako with the 1-piece. I would have imagined it be switched around. Also wash her back. Oh, I was thinking if it's a shower you can just do that on your back, but I guess it's a bit more difficult in the bath. I don't take baths, so I don't know if you scrub. I should stop talking. No person was right through the scenario, drafting CG, acting backwards up as if it's because it can. She's talking about the creator? Yeah, this is way too self-aware to just be a gag. She is ranting on about this. Let's at least acknowledge homosexuality. Yeah, there you go. Doesn't matter if it comes to love, you can love anyone you want. As long as it's within law. They put a lot of emphasis on these small, I'm not gonna treat as hints for now. An accident at the astronomy club. These character roles they play. The latter they pass off as gags for a bit, but if they are hints, they're focusing on them a lot instead of just... I mean, the characters are questioning those things too. I would have imagined it'd just be a one-off kind of thing and then they don't focus on it, but they do. Even your childhood friends and you've never done this before. It's slightly sad. But, I mean, happy you get to do it now. Come on, Yuki, just lie in the worst case. Oh yeah, right. Yeah. Too bad, Sakura. Jeez, okay. Give a bit more daring orders than just sit-ups and push-ups and stuff. Get naked. That's a bit much. Oh. That's a nipple. Alright. You know, if I was playing this game, I wouldn't look at my number until they had given the order. So I wouldn't be able to show it on my face. Alright. Well, I think just she does have the biggest bust out of the three. That's okay, so you're quite close. And a bit of a bad angle, I can't quite see. They should just have sex at this point already. They're obviously horny for each other. Just let's get together. Alright, they don't have to repeat that. There's no way I kiss another girl. I feel like that should be the easiest, right? No, what am I saying? That's a weird room now that I look at it. Looks like the attic, but it's formed like it's a cylinder shape. That's odd. This city probably represented some kind of dream to the people who called it that. A dream, huh? Oh wait, I can read it now. Black prish. Alright, Dickinson. I was gonna say a poem in Swedish is dikt. So it was almost Dickinson. Nej, är det någonting kan jag bara gå över. My parents. They don't know I'm doing this. We can probably close the fan. Yuki assist. Enjoy the view. Yeah, Morse code. I think. Sounds like it. I had something funny happened a few days ago. I was bored and I was a bit, I wanted some kind of sugar or sweetness of candy, but there wasn't anything around, so we just took a big fist of pearl sugar and I just poured it in my mouth and just started chewing. And I realized when I had it in my mouth, this was too much. And it did start to hurt a bit. I think they were just kind of pointy. But I ate it all up. I kind of regretted it. And then I went along with my day. And then 2 days later, my tooth started to ache right here. And I thought, oh god, I ate too much sugar. And some must have festered and then started to infect it or something. And I, karma, this is the universe, warning me, don't do this again. And then I looked in the bathroom mirror and I saw there was something white far back in the gum. And I thought, oh, that's a piece of sugar that's been lodged in there and it's been eating away. So I shone with my phone, and I took one of my pointy scissors, the one you use for nails, you know, just to kind of pick it away. And I tried to pick it away, but I couldn't. It was stuck. And I really tried, because this has been bugging me for a while now, because every time I try to clench my teeth together, you know, it hurts the gum upstairs on the upper row. And then eventually I realized it's not a piece of sugar, it's another tooth. I had another tooth. Turns out it's my wisdom tooth that had started to grow out of the lower gum. But since there's no equivalent wisdom tooth on the upper side yet to meet it, it means that the wisdom tooth on the lower end meets the gum on the upper end. So that's where it hurts a bit. It's just funny that it happened in conjunction with the time that I ate a bunch of sugar. I'm still gonna take it as a warning from the universe, you know, don't do that again. It's been, I said a few days ago, I guess it was a week ago, and it's been a week now, and it still hurts a bit when I clench my teeth, but it's easier. It started to get into place. So I know people remove their wisdom teeth. Not everyone has to. I know my mom did, but it might be genetic, it might not be. But yeah, either way, it's fine so far. It's a fun little story to ease the tension. Alright, I think we can start reading again, yes? Can to help wash your body today. That's nice, that's nice. We like that. I wouldn't know, we haven't yet seen it. Person she loved the most in the world. Everything about the person and even the face has changed. Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, that's cute. Oh, wait, there she is. Still don't see her face though. I feel like they're hiding it on purpose. That's gotta be hot. That black dress. You don't mind. Date that is inherently romantic. Oh. Yeah, practice for throwing a doll on my ass. There we go. Dreams are nice because they're sheep. If they weren't sheep, they wouldn't be dreams. Sheep. I mean, dreams could be anything. So they're not sheep in that sense. Sheep in that you just have to sleep and that's how you get them. Oh, I just had a realization. Sakura, she likes Yuki. It's always been Yuki. Yuki is the one who's changed. Her face, everything. The one she was with before was Yuki. Someone else. And yes, because that makes sense, because we haven't seen Yuki's sprite a lot. I think that's intentional. I think that's a hint that that ties into the whole, because she changed appearances. There's a mystery around her appearance kind of thing. So I think that's it. It was Yuki, and that's why she can say, oh, that she loves her, because she's loved her before. It makes sense. The only other characters are the two sisters. They couldn't be the one that she likes. This is assuming that the one she likes is one of the characters introduced already. If I had to pick one, it would have to be Yuki, and I think that makes the most sense. He was a poet. Now wait a minute. Otherwise, could it mean that Yuki was a boy before, and that's how she completely changed to a girl. Maybe Yuki is a boy in the real world, and imagining this being a girl in this world. But once again, we don't see her face. Well, then anyone can play the piano, if it's not too hard. God, he pops up a lot in conversations. Oh. 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 Yeah, she's been here before. Who has she been with? Sakura, when Yuki was a boy. The person that she loved before. I am... Never heard of such, yeah. I guess I don't branch out too much when it comes to classical music. I often complain about how piano music in visual novels, movies, anime, whatever, they all kind of float together. Not too much of a distinct melody, so I tend not to like them. Classical music, they just get it right. I wanted to play piano. I ended up with flute. One of these, not that one. I played flute for like 11 years. I got alright, we can talk about it later. I was very good. Vions de Setches, Diaprelus Poronchian, Sonatim Bureaucratique, Tramorsion en forme de poire. Yeah, I'm pretty good at French. Yeah, since we have the time. I'm listening. I played flute for 11 years. I was extremely good at it. I eventually quit around maybe 7th grade or something. I eventually, you know, school took up too much of my free time and I got bored. It ended up that I went through basically all the flute music books that we had, so I had to request like specific songs that I wanted to play that my teacher had to translate to flute notes. Not that it's important to anything that's happening, just making some conversation. Oh, come on, you're not that stupid. So that's not what music is, it was you, yeah. Silly little thing. You were even on a date. It's okay for you to both be girls and love each other and have sexual relations. I mean, for God's sake. Yeah. You know, wanted to wash your private place, but yeah, just playing along. Falling in love with something intentional. No, I agree, it just happens. Okay, so the power outage sure is the fantasy about disappearing. You know, she's okay with getting in naked and scrubbing her naked body, but not going with her to the astronomy club. That's a funny face I could have made. That's the first time we see Yuki's entire face since the prologue. That's a cute CG. Why should I put to kiss someone? It's funny listening to the voices. Yuki changed real fast. Actually realized and accepted her feelings really quickly. Alright, we don't need to hear that. Oh, wait. Okay. Supposed to get the telescope. Unless she wants to. Slurp, slurp. I hear her directly in my ear. Oh God! Shh, calm down, calm down. Jeez. This is obviously over-exaggerated for the viewer. A bit too much for my taste. I'd like it quieter. Okay. Oh, hey! Oh! Oh, hey! Oh. Alright. Yeah. Okay. Alright. Well, this is fine. This is a really long sex scene. But I mean, it's not filler, at least. I think. It's a weird place to... It's a weird time to do it, when you go to the astronomy club. There were other more intimate times. Sense of pussy there. Even though we're both ghosts, 2 ghosts rubbing the pot together, 2 ghosts rubbing. Yeah. Where is the black-haired girl? I always forget her name. Kosaru? Jirokasu? Okay. Alright, let's mute for a bit. You'll have to hear it. I'm gonna scan this. And there they come. I mean, that's great. I'm happy for you, but am I? I don't know. You didn't go check until the morning, though. That's a very odd kind of thing. Of course you're happy. This is your fantasy. Oh. Oh, it's from the game. I thought it was here. A bit interesting how it's kind of casually homophobic, yet like really fucking pro-gay. Because they shove it in everywhere they can. But it feels like they're exploring it as a kind of taboo thing. Which doesn't rub me nicely. Yeah, I've never read a visual novel with this much porn. You know, if I was playing King's game and it said, oh, kiss Theodore, that's me, hi, then I'd assume a peck. Not full making out, pressing bodies and touching private parts kind of thing. Oh, she's a horny ass girl. Kagami is surprisingly cool with this. This is just the same, so I'm skipping. I'm kind of skimming. You know, for this being Tsukasa's route, it's pretty much the same. Maybe we'll have her sex scene instead. Oh, there's a bit of a difference here. I'm gonna skim this too. Sorry, the sex scenes are fucking long. Fucking. Exposed breasts, Ayana, yeah. Oh, it was her exposed breasts. As I said, I am skimming. Hey, there we go, nipples. We like those. There we go, black panties, that suits her. Alright, I'm gonna mute this again. For me. Why isn't Tsukasa nude? There we go. They truly split. Jeez. Hey, it's a different day now. I recorded Sakuro's entire route yesterday evening and finished the first chapter of this visual novel, and I forgot to record. So now I will skim through her route again and comment on the same things that I commented on yesterday again. This is an interesting one. There's probably some sort of thematic significance behind the CGs in this being real pictures with a drawn filter over them. I'm not sure what the thematic significance behind that is quite yet, but I don't think it's just to be eerie. It probably ties into the whole it being fiction theme. It's a pretty neat idea, by the way, as a carnival ride, going into different locations, then being completely empty when they should be filled with people, because you're the spirits. It's a creepy idea. Again, this whole sequence, I'm not quite sure what the point of it is in the larger picture, but I think it's a cool set piece. Yes, this has to be the real world, right, to some degree, since we see the hospital here. I do like it when the world feels wrong. You know, those kind of stories or ideas. I don't know if there's a genre name for it, but I do like them. Here, nobody, there's no people, you know, where had they gone? That's great. And here, this CG was drawn with people before, and now there's no people in the background. That's a small detail, but some visual novels don't go to that length. This is interesting too, the numbers. We never did get quite to 86,400 or 86.400, depending on what that comma is for. So this is basically just them spending time before they have to wake up. There's some interesting ideas here about the internal and external world. I'm of the impression that I mean, we get data from the external world and then we interpret it in internal ways. So if I see the color blue, for example, the data that I got is external and it's the same data that you got, but my color blue might not be the same as your color blue because we interpret things differently. And there's no way that we'd be able to know. So we experience the same reality in different ways because we interpret the same data in different ways. And they kind of touched upon that here, which I think is interesting. Right, and here we got the doll. The whole train and stuffed animal things is weird. I'm guessing the stuffed animals are just to point home the whole thing with throwing stuffed dolls over the fence. And him, the doll, trying to turn smoking tobacco into something good reminds me of those 1900s advertisements for cigarettes. You know, oh no, this is good for you, it's scientifically proven. Yeah, see, we never quite got to 86,400, it just right when it was at 399, it started over again. I'm not sure if there's a significance behind the doll's odd behavior with cigarettes. Probably, but it's not something that I can think of just quite yet. The Milky Way Railroad. I think that's a reference to some book, which I know nothing about, so I can't comment on it. That's not at all. I'm noticing the emblem here is interesting. Looks like two Siamese ducks, almost. Right, and here in the corner, well not the corner, the side, we have the spirits. We get the confirmation that Sakura did indeed die. When the first doll was thrown off the roof, it wasn't actually a doll, it was Sakura. Which makes sense because I did think it looked like a stuffed animal, the CG. But it was a crashing sound, which I thought was odd, but then didn't reflect upon any further, so I think that's a good twist. So it makes sense that Yuki would think that someone tried to commit suicide, and then it turns out it was just a stuffed doll because someone did commit suicide, and then we transitioned into the dream world where it was just a stuffed doll. It's a good twist. A lot of this is just words strung together. I don't know what they all mean. I think a lot of this is references to the Galactic Milky Way Road book thingy. We'll see if this turns out to be profound or pretentious in the end. Maybe both. Some nice effects here. Oh, she said it. She said the title. So this is an interesting one. My thought was that Yuki was a boy. Yet here we see her as a girl. And at first I was like, oh, and that discredits my theory, but it doesn't. This could easily be a red herring. And especially because we don't actually see any background. She's just engulfed in shining white light. Could easily not quite be the real world yet, but just a visual, symbolizing her exiting the dream, or finally coming into reality. You know, so I'm still gonna stick by my interpretation. It makes too much sense. There are too many hints for me to just discredit it with this. And then it starts over, the count. Overall score for Down the Rabbit Hole 1, 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10. It wasn't good, but there's promise. I think the biggest issue is just the slice of life. It's really basic, it's really dragged out. I mean, that scene with, oh god, Kagami trying to give Yuki her lunchbox. That's the most dragged out scene I've ever experienced in my goddamn life. That was bad, that was really bad. I don't know why that was so long. I'm just gonna blame the visual novel medium, because they're all like that. But even that was especially infuriating. But the slice of life is really basic, and it makes the characters bland too. I know some people say that, oh, but this chapter is supposed to introduce you to the main characters and get you attached to them. And it's rare that I like that kind of stuff, because it's the same with Higurashi. It's the same problem. It doesn't get me attached to the characters when it's so basic. There's no character work done, or very little at least. So it's the same with the Higurashi club games, you know. They're supposed to get you attached to the characters. It's really basic shit that doesn't let me know much about the characters. So it's just not a good way to get me emotionally invested in it. There are some of these though. Yuki being the word girl and having fantasized this entire thing was pretty easy to figure out. I mean, it was obvious from pretty much the start. Even before the word girl was, introduced as a concept. Sakura being dead did catch me by surprise. I did not expect that, which is good. It's a good twist. It makes sense. And it also opens up possibilities for the next chapters in the story, because now supposedly we're getting to the real world. So Sakura still committed suicide, so you could explore the ramifications of a classmate committing suicide. And I'm guessing a big part of the actual big picture mystery would be, why did she do it? And that's good. That's a good hook. We'll see how that goes. As for themes, you can skip ahead to this time if you want to avoid Fata and Umineko spoilers, and you should if you haven't read those two visual novels. But it very much explores the same type of themes when it comes to fiction. I'm trying to make the any connection that I can. There was, I'm thinking when it comes to the House of Fata Morgana, especially Giselle, because she, when she was the maid, she made this whole fantasy narrative for her to identify with in order to escape from the real world, it was the most interesting thing. Sadly, they didn't follow up on that as much as I would have liked, but that's fine. We're not going to criticize that now. But that's a really interesting idea. And in Umineko we have Yasu, of course, who creates this fantasy narrative to express her feelings and thoughts that she can't in real life. So that's a way. Both are ways of coping. One is trying to is using the fantasy narrative as a way of self-identification, and the second is partly that, but more about being able to express yourself through fiction. And Subahibi explores similar things. We have Yuki was probably a guy. Her casual homophobia would be more explainable if she was a guy and is exploring her queerness through being a girl now. Now wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. If she was a guy before, that means she liked girls. And now, in her fantasy, she wanted to be a lesbian. Maybe she's trans, and that's why she... Wait a minute, give me a second. Maybe she's trans, she likes girls, she feels like a girl. Okay, so maybe this fantasy is less about exploring her queerness and more about exploring her transsexuality. But that doesn't make much sense either, because the chapter didn't explore a lot of gender identity, if at all, gender identity themes, but queerness. Anyway, I can work out the details later, but I feel like you can explain some of her casual homophobia, a lot of her casual homophobia, by this being different from how she usually lives, and this is the only way she can explore her queerness, and maybe something with gender identity. There's stuff to work out there to find the details, but we can take that some time else. So that's something. And we see in the other characters, the whole with playing the character roles, playing the maid, playing the childhood friend, playing the little sister. that we see that even when Kagami plays the Shadow Friend, they do tend to point out that she doesn't really fit the trope. You know, she's too violent, she's too jealous, she's too loud, which I understand is the series trying to communicate that you can't put actual people into boxes, into character archetypes, because they're too complex for that, too complicated for that. But then, you know, we don't actually get any sort of complicated characterization for her, so it just comes off as really pretentious, you know. Oh, they're too complex for that. Okay, but we haven't seen any of that complex. All we saw was, you know, them pointing out, oh, you don't act like it. And then it's implied because people are more complex than that. Okay, but we don't see that. This is, one again, the pitfalls with this chapter, because the characterization is just too bad. This can be salvaged in the future chapters. But basically the whole thing, the core idea here is expressing yourself through fiction, through this dream. And the finer details of what exactly Yuki is exploring, which has to do with gender identity and sexuality, as far as mine is in my head. We'll see exactly the finer details of that later on. It's a very horny game, a lot of fan service. Even when there aren't visuals, there's a lot of talking about breasts and stuff like that. I'm aware that this is an Eroge. Hope that I pronounced that correctly. So I understand that it's supposed to be porn, and then we have a story to accompany that. Hopefully I'm correct about that. Basically, I can expect there to be more pornography in the future, which I'm not excited about, but we'll see how that goes. Right, the Kagami and Tsukasa endings were just nothing special. I mean, we got some sort of culmination on Kagami's part, but once again, the relationship just is not well done. It's very it's very bland and underdeveloped and flat out bad. That, you know, I don't care. The Tsukasa ending was just weird. I mean, Tsukasa's relationship had not been built up as much. So I mean, it's fine. There was some stuff, but it's basically just fan service, I feel. Right, I think that's enough of my notes, to be honest. So I would just say I'm into the concepts. I'm into the more conceptual ideas about exploring, using fiction to explore yourself, coping mechanisms, and now the whole maybe try to figure out the motive of Sakaro's suicide and the whole sexuality and gender identity. All of it is very bare bones, but that's fine. It's the first chapter, it's been introduced. What I didn't like was the slice of life and fan service. All of that was very badly done. It doesn't have to be badly done, but this was. You can justify the purpose of them being in the narrative with recontextualization, but you cannot justify it being so badly written. You can make a point behind why Yuki was so stupid in not getting Kagami's wanting to give her lunchbox, and why Kagami wanted to give her lunchbox so bad, besides what was presented in the narrative already. But you cannot make that reading experience any less excruciating. But I think that's pretty much it. So for the future, because of the context of this chapter, I don't think this is necessarily indicative of the future quality in future chapters. I sure hope it isn't, because I really want to love this visual novel. So yeah, mediocre start, but it has promise, it has potential, and I'm not any less excited to read more than I was before I started this chapter. So I'll see you for chapter 2 next time, which I don't know when it'll be out, maybe next week, hopefully. But yeah, I'll see you for Down the Rabbit Hole 2.